Episode 37. Dane, why are you practically asleep right now?
37-B. It's because Samuel likes to record at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, we were getting ready for this episode, and he was just on the floor. I didn't know if he was asleep or dead or what, but he was not moving around very quickly.
I was half asleep. I couldn't see straight.
Yeah, so this is the sleepy episode of the Until Next Week podcast, obviously. And
Young
Dane,
Sleep.
Young Sleepy.
Oh,
Is
man.
that your rapper name, Young Sleepy?
No, but I hear you sleep with socks on.
No, I don't. No, I do. Oh my word, that's another great thing I didn't even think about. We maybe we'll get into that in this episode, but first of all, no, I don't listen. No, we're both dead right now. But socks on when you sleep, you crazy. Okay.
It's against the Constitution.
Yeah, but this is episode 37 of the Until Next Week podcast.
Pipe up another one.
Okay, Dane, we weren't even going to talk about this, but you brought up socks on when you sleep, and that reminded me that we had that K-Life meeting a couple weeks ago where they were doing a lot of like basically would you rather type scenarios.
Kinda.
And one of them, yes, was are you a person with socks on when you sleep or without socks? I went to the without socks, but you just started slandering me. Why?
Because you seem like the kind of guy that would sleep. You'd put lotion on your feet and then you put socks on over that. First off, that doesn't make any sense when people do that. You like your socks are absorbing like half the lotion at least.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well,
it's
just clothes in general. Like
who wears clothes when they sleep?
Exactly. No, I can't sleep that way. But like when you put lotion on, like you gotta let it air out a little bit. Like,
yeah.
You can't just immediately slap clothes on right after that.
Yeah, that was one of the weird things. So back when I swam for like big meets and everything, we would shave. And, you don't want to get like all rashy, I guess, after you shave like your body. So
Ashy?
Yes.
Rashy?
Yes. All those. Lashy, actually.
What?
But you put lotion on like all your legs and everything else. And being a guy, most of the times you aren't used to that feeling, and you get in the sheets and you're like, this feels kind of weird.
Get off me.
Yeah, or like sometimes you have to like put on your sweats and go somewhere and it's like, I don't like this feeling. It's so strange. Like,
yeah, with no hair.
Yeah, I mean the no hair is fine, I think. But when you have the lotion on and then it's like immediately touching something, you just feel like you're sticking. Like to the sheets, your clothes, like whatever.
I can see that.
But like, does anybody out there like that feeling? I don't know. I don't like it. I don't love it.
That's why I've decided to not be a girl.
Wow.
Look at that.
I mean, I'm not a girl, and I definitely shaved like that. So thanks a lot, Dane.
Yeah, but now
I appreciate it.
But now you have the option to not shave your legs. You still have the option. It doesn't mean you're not choosing to shave your legs.
It's nice every once in a while, It brings me back to my swimmer days.
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. I know. It doesn't matter. But this is kind of grinding my gears. So it was a great time to go into our grinding our gears segment. And Dane, we mentioned you're a little drowsy, but do you want to explain why?
I laid on the ground. And the ground's a great place to sleep, especially if somebody has a carpeted house and you lay down on it. You're just like, oh, it's so firm. And I want to lay down, and laying down just sounds like the best idea of all time at all times. And when you're tired, you're like, wow, that looks like a nice place where I could just lay down. And so I did, and started to fall asleep a little bit. Because I took some like allergy medicine because of the mold, and recurring guest, the mold. And so I was like, wow, well maybe I'm just allergic to it and this will help. And so I take it. It's a blue tablet, which the blue ones are usually nighttime and the red ones are daytime. And I'm like, but it doesn't say like that it's drowsy on here. I was like, maybe it'll be fine. And I take it, and every time I've taken it now, I've been tie-tie. And because I'm like, I take it, and at like 6 o'clock earlier today, I took a nap, and then I'm tired again. Maybe I'm just old, but no, it's probably the flipping thing in the thing. The drowsy, the drowsy allergy medicine. That makes me
You're
loopy.
not going to remember anything about this episode. You're literally all of it. You're in a dream right now.
I don't remember the last episode.
Yeah. But yeah, that can be a little rough. And also, I feel like typically, especially when we record late, you're usually drinking caffeine or Mountain Dew or something, and you're still not bringing that back yet. I think you need to get a little jolt next time.
Well, I guess I got the peace tea right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's not the same as the Dew. The Dew, oh mama, that gets you going. But sometimes the Dew is just like too syrupy and too sweet, so I don't know. I go for tea sometimes.
Yeah, I get that. But you know what I don't get? Keyboard warriors.
What does that mean? Is
Yeah.
that people who put on masks and like go fight wars and things like that? Because it doesn't sound like it.
And the Florida Keys.
And the Florida Keys,
the
yeah.
Florida Keys, that's where all the keyboard warriors. I don't know where the board comes into play. They swim in the ocean. They're on the surfboards. They're the keyboard
the
warriors.
sharks.
Yes, they're fighting all the sharks. They saw Jaws back in the day and like, we can't let this happen again. We got to go to them. That's how we win.
Because the sharks have constructed breathing apparatus with kelp to aggressively hunt us and our young.
Exactly. You read through all my notes. How did you know? But no, I think most of you probably know what a keyboard warrior is. Basically, it's just someone who takes everything too seriously, especially like in comment sections, whether that be like, honestly, most of the time it is Facebook, but sometimes it can be like Instagram or whatever else.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks ago, this Instagram account that I followed called The Pour Over News.
They're pretty good, actually.
It's really solid. Basically, they're, I think, Christian-based, but they try to post different relevant news sources and try to be extremely like unbiased and literally just say like, hey, this is happening. This is relevant to, honestly, like the world or maybe the U.S. or whatever. Here's some news for you without trying to have any sort of bias.
And here's the Christian perspective.
Yeah. And yeah, they usually have like a Bible verse with it or something else, and it's a good account to follow. Like I enjoy the account, but again, we're not a Taylor Swift podcast. But a couple weeks ago,
We're not.
Surprising to you, I know. Some people might think we are. We bring her up a lot, but it's just an easy, I guess, topic. But this account, The Pour Over News, had a post about Taylor Swift and how she was bringing her Eras tour to like the movie theaters, like we mentioned last week, and the amount of comments this post got was ridiculous. Like this same account, like just for comparison's sake, had a post about like all the hurricanes that happened or like the wildfires.
Earthquake.
And, yeah, like all the like these tragedies, and like I think the one in Hawaii specifically, and they're like, hey, this would be really expensive to cover. If you donate to like whatever, we'll match that. And there's like 3 comments.
Yeah.
And then this post about Taylor Swift had like 400 comments, and they were
She worships Satan.
yeah, all over the place. Like the amount of times people are just like complain. Again, like all it was like, hey, she's having a concert tour in the movie theaters. That's it. And people were putting unfollowed. She performs witchcraft at her concerts. Like
Facts.
I don't understand facts. People are like, I don't understand why she's famous. Like, why is this news account? Why are you promoting this? Or like other people are just like disappointing posts from this page. I'm done. I'm like, it's a news site. Like
Right.
I don't get why this is supposed to be like anything too crazy. Like why is this happening?
And they're keyboard warriors because if you were to challenge them in real life, like they'd probably back down.
Yeah.
And you're just like, dude, this is not that serious, for one. For two, you're just like the people who call her say she's performing witchcraft. You watched a video about it once, and they're like, yeah,
From this YouTube video that has 12 plays,
yeah,
but I don't know.
It has 12 plays. It's like, if you look closely enough, you can see her doing blah blah blah.
Yeah, she always says 13, but secretly she writes 666. That's what she's doing.
If you stretch the 1 and curve it into the 3, it makes a 6.
Yeah.
It's just things like that.
Yeah, it annoys me so much because I feel like a lot of times just people, especially if you're because again, this is like a Christian kind of news source, but like for people who maybe aren't Christians and they jump in and see these posts, they're like, why are all these people just hating on this news? Like that doesn't seem very attractive to me at all. And it's kind of disappointing because I'm sure this probably turns some people away from like Christianity, which again, this is not the point of Christianity. Isn't just supposed to win a keyboard battle about something random that doesn't really matter, but it's just some news.
Yeah,
and
something that doesn't matter in the end anyways.
It's so annoying. And I get so annoyed with people who just like comment in these posts. So that's why I left a comment as well.
Yeah. You are a keyboard warrior.
Yes, I am.
Dang
so I decided to jump in and just, I have a interesting sense of humor. So I was like, man, so much bad blood in these comments. Just shake it off, people. Y'all have most likely had a cruel summer, and honestly, you just need to calm down. And I'm just
it
like,
was a cruel summer.
It was. I wish I would have posted this earlier because I'm sure it would have got more tension. Which I guess I don't want that because I don't want the keyboard warriors, but at the same time, it can be kind of fun.
You don't want them to win.
But yeah, it was just annoying me. It was grinding my gears. I'm like, just be like, okay, cool article. Next, like it doesn't need to have any sort of controversy surrounding it, but yeah, just a little grinding my gears, So, Dane, you have an interesting life update. I heard
something has to grind your gears.
Yeah. You have some news you mentioned last week.
Yeah, we're releasing Haters 10 through 6 right here.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And
you have your haters list you do yearly, and I heard you have the preliminary picks right now.
Obviously.
10 through 6 for 2023.
For sure.
Which is kind of weird. Why are we doing this in September? I feel like it would have made more sense to do it like at the end of the year.
Well, we had the list, but we had to make the plaques made.
Okay, because this is like our fiscal year. So our year end is like the end of August, I guess. So that's why we're jumping into it here in September. Okay.
Well, and what happens is I come out with it every year, and this is the 4th year of it coming out. Mm-hmm. And I started the first year in June, so then I did the next year in June, the next year in June-ish. And then same thing with this year. June-ish comes around, and you finalize the list, and you're like, all right, let's roll it out. Roll it to the papers, if you will.
Yeah, get it in the papers. Get it the pour over new so they can post this. We can get some keyboard warriors jumping on it for your specific personal haters.
Yeah, which you always started out with some honorable mentions.
Oh, we're going honorable mentions before we jump into the 10 through 6. Okay.
Some honorable mentions.
Okay, let's go to these honorable mentions.
And honorable mention number 1 will be Mia Weiserma.
Okay, shout out.
She's always hating. She's like, why are you doing that, Dane? Or something like that.
This is a former K-Life person, just for context, because most of these names will probably mean nothing to you, but it means something to Dane.
Exactly.
And that's why he's mentioning it. So, okay, so first, Mia Weissema is an honorable mention. Who's your next? Given our honorable mention?
Yeah, number 2 is all of my bosses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, not going to mention their names, but they're always...
don't do that. We don't want to get you fired here.
Yeah, they always make jokes about how I don't do work, and I'm like, that's not true, and you don't believe that. You know why? Because if I actually didn't do work here, you would fire me.
Valid. Very valid.
Yeah, because I'd be a pretty expensive person to just have around. Because I tell them... jokingly, but also not jokingly, I'm here for comedic relief at my job. Okay. And then our third and last honorable mention that we're going to have to roll out here is going to be, well, it's actually a tandem.
It's a tandem.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, I don't know if I want to put them here or if I want to put them 10 and 9.
Do you want to have them as an honorable mention, or you just want to wait for 10 and 9?
I'll put them at 10 and 9.
Okay, so you have 2 honorable mentions, Mia Weissema and all of your bosses.
Yeah, those are the 2 honorable mentions.
If you are one of his bosses listening, he's a hard worker. Don't fire him. But this is just content for the pod.
If you're listening, wow,
awesome! Shout out.
He
appreciates you.
Yeah, you guys know I have a podcast. However, you made it pretty clear you weren't going to listen.
Okay, so number 10 on your list. We're going 10 through 6 for your haters list.
Number 10, Joe Hendricks.
Oh, shout out Joe. He's your number. Is this because he made you fill out a K-Life form a few weeks ago?
Partly. It's all the forms and all the things, and it's like, hey, you got to do this now. Hey, you got to do that now. Hey, you got to show up to this meeting now. And I'm
hey, you got to do what you said you were going to do. Like, what?
I know.
Crazy stuff.
Well, it's like, teach kids, hang out with K-Life people. Why do we got to do all this extra paperwork? And then all that jazz. And I'm like, it's whatever.
Okay. So number 10, Joe Hendricks. Who's your number 9 hater?
Number 9 is Julie, his fiance. That's why I said they were a tandem.
I love that you put her.
Yeah. What?
I don't even know. This is just funny.
Julie.
Why is she your number 9 hater?
Well, she's the number 9 hater because I always give her a lot of great ideas.
Okay.
I'm like, Julie, we should do this. We should, instead of trying to get all these chairs in order the way you want them to be ordered, why don't we just put them all in a row right here? It'd be simpler, it'd be faster. I would be much happier about it. And she goes, no, there's a particular way you need to do these chairs, blah, blah, blah. She's like, and in fact, have you been working out? And I said, no. And then she said, well, good, because I need you to come lift this really heavy thing over here. That happened the other day.
So she was trying to be like, hey, compliment you. Like, hey, it looks like you've been working out. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
sorry.
saw right through her lies. And then when I know when somebody's trying to get me to do things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So, number 9, Julie.
Okay, number 8. Who is it going to be?
My stepmother.
I think you're going to say myself.
No. Tamara. And goes by Tammy. But it's Tammy because Tammy's like, Dane, why aren't you married yet? Do I need to sign you up for one of them apps?
Which app? Farmers Only?
Yes. She's suggested Farmers Only.
Oh, shit, she has?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, no, Tammy, I'm
That's
not
good.
getting on Farmers Only. That doesn't make any sense.
You're like, I have my own missions that I go through.
I'm like, I don't want to.
Operations.
Yeah, I have operations.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on Farmers Only.
And you're not a farmer. It's like, I'm not dating you. You don't have land.
I'm not a farmer. I grew up on a farm, but I don't like to do any of the farming.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you'll meet a nice Christian woman on there.
Is your stepmom 84 years old?
Basically, because she is
I don't know. You'll find a nice one.
She's like 60. Her birthday was a couple of days ago.
Oh, shout out.
But shout out to Tamara, Tammy. And she is a crazy chicken lady. LaRue. She is. I gave her a trophy last year for Christmas that said Crazy Chicken Lady on it.
Crazy Chicken Lady. Has she ever made the top 10 list for you before?
Yes.
Okay, shout out.
Yes.
Okay, so
she was number
surprised.
4 last year.
Oh, so she's doing worse,
Down in the
worse or
rankings.
better?
This is a little better.
Okay, doing better is going
the lower
lower.
you are, the better.
Okay,
yeah.
that's good. That's good.
The less of a hater you are.
Okay, so we have Joe, Julie, your stepmother.
Yep.
Who's number 7 on your list?
Number 7, we're gonna go with Jake Pridgeon's girlfriend, Lauren Bailey.
I like how you just bring these people in. That's awesome. Not even the people themselves, unless at number 6 would be Jake Pridgeon, but we'll see.
No.
Okay.
No, because she's always slapping me in my nipple whenever I do something crazy. When I do something crazy, she'll like pinch my nipple, and I'm like,
ooh, wait,
yeah,
what?
I don't know.
It's not even Jake. It's his girlfriend.
Not Jake. It's her.
That's a little weird.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie.
It's not weird when she does it apparently, and I'm like, what do I can't do it back to you.
Oh, okay. This is getting off the rails.
Oh, I can't.
11:53 p.m. Dane.
It's like I don't know how do I refute this. I don't know what to do here.
You're just like, oh.
Yeah. So then Jake's like, hey, leave him alone. Yeah.
Wow, did not expect that.
That one's pretty tough.
Okay. Nice.
And
I can understand why she was number 7, but there are 6 people higher, only one of which you're going to mention right now. It's number 6 on your haters list. Who is it?
Number 6 is somebody near and dear to all of our hearts.
Who is it?
Michael Fuller.
Michael Fuller. Shout out, Michael Fuller. You made the list. You asked him to when he's going to drop the list, and I think that's secretly because he wanted to be on the list.
Michael's not higher on the list because he doesn't actually hate me.
Yeah.
But the things he does is hater material, such as when I had a crush on a certain somebody in K-Life.
Oh, no.
And she was one of my missions. Michael's like...
Operations?
Yeah, operations, sorry.
Yeah, you got to get yourself right.
Yeah, she was one of my operations. Michael's like, in front of her, hey, Dane, how is this mission going with this one girl? Huh? And then we'll go ask her roommate about me. And I'm like, Michael, no, don't say that.
This is my secret operation that only all my guy friends know about.
Yeah, and some girls who won't tell her. And I'm like, her roommate will definitely tell her.
Oh, Michael,
So,
that deserves a top 10 haters list right there.
Yeah, I was like, Michael, don't tell her this. Don't.
That's awkward.
Because that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, it's like if you tell her that she's your mission.
Yeah.
Yep. And how did that go?
I can't go into any details because people will know who she is then.
Yes.
But it went about the same as
most of your other missions.
the 5.5 earthquake that just happened.
Oh.
Catastrophically.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
10 through 6. There's some really big hitters on there, and big pinchers as well.
Yeah.
But,
it went the exact same as last year's season of Survivor. There were no survivors.
yeah, just everybody's done. Everybody's dead. Wow. Okay, well, good life update from you. Looking forward to your 5 through number 1 next week. I'm sure there's some solid picks in there. But I also have a life update, and it's back to the sports world. Yes, I am a wiffle ball player by day and night. Not day and night, just day.
Skip your job to play wiffle ball.
Well, it's actually with my job because there's like a downtown wiffle ball league, and we were, give or take, like 7-0. And some guys on my team were like, hey, we got to lose a game. We got to. Last time we were undefeated for a season, we lost in the first round of the playoffs. We got to lose. We got to lose. We got to lose. I'm like, stop. Get out of my head.
That's ridiculous mentality.
Yeah, so we were 7-0 going to the last regular season game, and I think it was partially them in my head, also just me getting in my own head,
Just
and
hit
we
the ball.
played horrible. And I can't really say we. It was mainly me, and I gave up like 9 runs. I think it doubled. Like I gave up like 9 runs in the first 7 games of the season, and then gave up like 9 in this one. So it's the last regular season game. We still had the number 1 seed locked up. So okay, we're good. We're fine. We're fine.
Sounds like you blew it.
Yeah, I kind of did. But then like a week passed, and we had like a bye. And it was actually more of like a placing week because we're by far the number 1 seed. There was 5 teams, so 1 team got knocked out that week. And then this past week, we went into the first round of the playoffs, and I started off warming up, and I could not hit the strike zone. And I think it was making a lot of my teammates pretty nervous because I literally just everything was all over the place. I think I was in my head from the prior game. I couldn't get the feel for the ball right, and it was rough. And then the first inning, I wasn't pitching well. I was walking guys like right away, and we actually got out of the first inning, luckily, by only giving up 1 run. So, like, we're fine.
Not
we're
a crooked
good.
number.
We're good. Like, if 1 we can deal with, hopefully I'll lock in. And then the second inning came around, and, like, I started out okay. I think I got that first out. But then the next guy hit, like, a ground ball, and our guys made an error, which means it was an automatic single.
Tough.
And I was like, I don't need this right now. That's not helpful for me whatsoever because when I'm not pitching super well, I need those outs.
Well,
and then, like, one of the next guys, he had a fly ball. I'm like, okay, that should be an easy out. And the guy dropped it. I'm like, this is not going how I want this to go.
Don't drop it.
Yeah, this isn't good. So I think there was around 1 out, first and second, and then I think one of the next guys got a triple, so 2 runs scored. I'm like, this is not good.
When you should have been out of the inning.
Yeah, so I had 2 unearned runs that inning. Luckily, I got out of it. And then we just kind of kept going through the game, and I wasn't helping myself any really on the hitting side of things. I think I drew 1 or maybe 2 walks, but I was just like having kind of weak hit balls. I had 1 massive drive down the left field line, but it was foul.
Obviously.
Yeah, and I think I struck out like 2 or 3 times, and it was kind of rough. And honestly, all our guys hit poorly because we were no hit in this first round of the playoffs. The final score ended up being 3-0. And it was just disappointing. Like, after everything going for us, we're playing the 4 seed. We beat them twice already this season, and then we lose when it matters.
Would you charge the mound?
I thought about it because 1 at bat, they hit me twice, and literally it was the exact same spot both times. Like, oh, that's tender already. And then you hit me again. Even though it's wiffle ball, still kind of hurts.
That's when you take the ball and throw it over the fence.
Yeah. So
if you don't want to behave, nobody's playing.
Yeah. So it was a disappointing week. Losing that first round because I really wanted to win the championship again, bring home that trophy, but it's
midnight.
It's not. It is midnight.
It just turned
it's
midnight.
Taylor Swift.
Midnight's version.
But yeah, it was just a disappointing end to a mostly good season, and honestly, I think I took this way too hard because this is just a work wiffle ball league, and I just sat in my car for like 30 minutes to an hour afterwards.
As you should.
Just being sad. I'm like, why? Good. How did it go that poorly? Like, again, it's wiffle ball, but there's only so many things nowadays in my life that are like, hey, I'm looking forward to this. That when one thing gets down, I'm like, This is rough.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
When we did the soccer league, for real fans, you remember the soccer league?
Mm-hmm.
It was the one thing I was looking forward to every week. I was like, I don't even like soccer, but I need this competition.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's something you need at our old age of 26.
I just need competition.
Yeah.
It's crazy because people talk about lifting and stuff, and I'm like, I hate lifting. They're like, well, you need to get exercise somehow. I'm like, if you're keeping score in any game ever, I'll be there.
Yeah,
like,
I do the lifting to not necessarily get huge, but just kind of stay in shape, but also just keep me in my peak condition for competitions.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Because the other, like I mentioned, like a couple weeks ago, had some softball games. I hit a massive dinger. I'm like, that's because I'm hitting the weights, Or in wiffle ball, I don't think you can even really say arguably I was the best pitcher out of anybody this year. And besides like a couple times I fell apart, I was very dominant. And it's because, I stay working out and then I hit dingers. Like that's what I do.
Throwing the wiffle ball.
Yeah, that's what I do. Throwing the wiffle ball. But yeah, it's just, it's fun having competition at this point in life, especially when both of us grew up playing sports in different capacities. Like you need that.
If you're not dominating everybody in your life in every facet of like their capacity, then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. What is the point?
What's the point? Why don't we just bet air?
Bet air?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what you mean.
So it's a callback to a How I Met Your Mother episode.
Okay, I don't watch that show.
What? First off, that's where you've gone wrong.
I'm sorry.
However, Barney in the show...
He's the pink, purple dinosaur?
No! You're a purple dinosaur.
You take that back. You take that back, Dane.
You take it back.
You're talking so slow.
So, he has a gambling problem in this particular episode, and... Which, don't we all? And he...
word.
Is wanting to bet on the Super Bowl, and Marshall's like, I bet this guy misses this kick right here, and then Barney goes, oh yeah, I'll bet you $5,000 that he makes it, and then he goes, $5,000? No, I'll bet you $5, and he goes, $5? Why don't we just bet air, Marshall? What's the point? And he goes, if you have a gambling problem, you'll bet me $5. He goes, yeah, let's bet the $5. But I can't wait until that's me when sports gambling is legalized in Missouri. And then
Shout out.
A massive
and
problem.
then you can bet $5 all the time and lose most of it. It's pretty cool how that works.
Everybody listening to this podcast, you need to check up on me once sports gambling is legalized in Missouri because I might be dragged away from the mob.
Yep. So just keep listening to the podcast so he has at least some money to hopefully keep him running.
This is mostly my
this is your pre-gambling addiction podcast supplier,
if you will.
Oh, nice.
But it's this like pre-monologue leading up to my gambling addiction. You get to hear
all of it, the rise and
fall of Dane,
and then the fall, and then I'll have to go whenever you're in prison for whatever reason, and then we have to record from there. That's not good because you have outside noises and sound. I'm like, that's not a good atmosphere for recording.
I could get shivved. Or thrown in the hole for bad behavior.
Oh, man.
I don't know how prisons work, but
no,
I can only imagine that's how it works.
Yep, I can only imagine. So we've brought this up before. We've done this segment. It's a Would You Rather segment for our main, purpose of this episode. And we have some good questions here we're going to discuss. I think they're pretty good. We'll give our insights, and we're just going to jump into it. So, Dane, would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life?
Yes.
Yes, great answer. So question number 2.
I
think I know mine, but I'm curious what you'll go with.
So if I have the rewind button, I can't just like pause it and then rewind?
No, it's just you go directly to rewind.
Do I have to rewind through like all of the parts of my life?
I think back to that point? You get to choose when you rewind. Like if you rewind, you don't just skip back ahead. You rewind, and then I guess you would live from that point forward.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which is why I guess most of the time, if you rewind, it would be something like immediately after, like that didn't go well.
Yeah, like when you throw up after Taco Bell.
Yeah. So would you rather have that as an option or a pause button?
I want the pause button.
Okay.
Because I'm like, sometimes that burger be hitting different. and I'm just like, ooh, I like you, burger. Or more importantly, I need the weekend to last forever.
Yeah.
I'm off for the next 4 days. And I'm like, yeah, this whole working thing is really cramping my style because I got a lot of college football to watch this weekend, and I need to pause it. And going home to see my family this weekend, and we're gonna get weirdly competitive in Monopoly. Speaking of Monopoly and weirdly competitive, Lindsay Reed sucks in Monopoly.
Every time. There's no reason.
But here's why.
Oh, okay.
She sucks in Monopoly because when we play Monopoly, her husband plays too, and my brother Cole and my dad. And then Lindsay, after 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, for like 45 minutes of playing, will be like lose interest in the game and be like, Daniel, I want to get out. And then he goes, nope, you got to keep playing. And she goes, well, I'll sell you all my properties if you just sing this cat song.
And Daniel is her husband, correct?
Daniel's her husband,
Yeah,
yes.
not Dane. She's not calling Dane Daniel.
That's weird.
Yeah.
No. Daniel, I want to get out. So I'll sell you all my properties if you just sing me this cat song. And he goes, okay, yeah, and then does it, and she just gives him all her properties, and I'm like, no,
this isn't fun.
That's
that
ridiculous.
Gives him all the power right there, assuming
Yeah.
she's playing somewhat decent, and
yeah,
that's rough.
because he becomes a like oligarchy over there, and then I'm just like, no couples are allowed. You can't just quit like that.
So that relates that to pause button.
Yeah, because I would not pause that section because Lindsay sucks at Monopoly.
Yeah. I think for myself, I tend to agree with you. I would choose a pause button just because I feel like if you hit the rewind, you still would, in this scenario, I feel like you'd remember what you did the first time, and I don't think I'd really love that. But the pause button, like you said, could be really nice, especially like on the weekends. Like, I could catch up on so many things. Like, I could just like...
That's what you think.
Yeah, like you immediately, you have so much more time, so you could use that either like, hey, I'm going to hit the pause button and sleep for however long, so then I feel rested. Or I can just knock out whatever I need done. Like whether it's cleaning, cooking, like whatever, you hit the pause button, you're good.
Or
you're
never
good.
move forward in time again.
Yeah, that's so much fun because everyone else doesn't move and you're just there. So, pause button. And also the pause button, which would be kind of cool. If you want to like sneak into like a concert or anything, you hit the pause, you walk through everywhere,
Dang
and
it.
you're in. Rewind, you just have to keep doing it until something works.
Vandalism.
The pause would help so much more.
Metapause would...
Wow.
What?
Wow.
What?
Wow. Okay. That. Next question.
Samuel said it.
No, I did not. Next question. Would you rather be an unknown Major League Baseball player or a famous badminton star?
Can I change it to cricket?
No.
Oh. Frick. I was really planning on you saying yes.
No. Because cricket's a bigger sport.
That's why I wanted cricket.
Yeah, so that's why we're sticking with an unknown Major League Baseball player or a famous badminton star.
Do I have sponsorships with my badminton?
Whatever sponsorships come along with badminton, you could take part in. So yes.
It's not very specific, but
Yeah, I would say yes.
do I have Gatorade?
I don't know. You can drink Gatorade. I don't think Gatorade's probably sponsoring you.
Okay. What about McDonald's?
I don't think McDonald's sponsors badminton stars. You probably get like a badminton paddle sponsor and some gear, and you probably get paid something. I don't really know what, but a lot of people who follow badminton love you.
Am I an unknown Major League Baseball player?
It says an unknown Major League Baseball player.
So what does that mean? Does that mean like an average player?
We'll say you're like right on the verge of like getting sent down to AAA, but you stay in the majors. So you don't really play a lot. You're kind of like a Taylor Motter, but with
Ew.
less publicity because people know who Taylor Motter is for the St. Louis Cardinals because he's just frustrating to watch.
Well, only St. Louis fans know who he
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
St. Louis fans know him well, but you'd be rather like most people would just not know who you are, but you're somehow on a Major League Baseball team.
What if I was a Matthew Liberatore?
He's in AAA most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going unknown Major League Baseball player.
Am I the best badminton player of all time?
It says you're a famous badminton star. So picture an all-star like we won't go Acuna type. We'll say like a Randy Arozarena for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Not good enough.
that's what kind of star you are.
I want to be bigger than that.
Okay, we'll say you're the Paul Goldschmidt of badminton.
Bigger than that.
Nolan Arenado.
That's not bigger.
Okay, well, you're the Albert Pujols of badminton stars.
Early 2000s Albert Pujols?
As a whole career, yes, that's who you are. So, which one?
Yeah, I'll be the badminton star.
Okay. I feel like there's probably not... Do you have any reasons for that, or just kind of...
Because I want to be the best that there ever was. I want to catch them all.
I knew you were going Pokemon route. That's
Shout out
good.
to Pokemon.
That's good. Honestly, I think I would go the unknown Major League Baseball player, and that's because their minimum salary is right around $700,000 a year.
You said Gatorade signed me, though.
Yeah, I don't think you're making a lot with badminton. Also,
don't know
badminton, you most likely would not be famous in the U.S., so you'd probably have to move to a different country. So with an unknown Major League Baseball player, I get to hang out with all the other players. I'm a big autograph collector, so I got the inside scoop on getting other autographs and such. People would still want my autograph randomly, even though I'm unknown, and I still get paid well. And I'm assuming that I'm an unknown Major League Baseball player that stays in the league for quite a while, but just doesn't necessarily play a lot.
Professional.
I think he's searching professional badminton player salaries.
Badminton.
I bet you the salary is probably less than $500,000 for like the top players. But you already chose that route. You know, that's what you went after, and I don't know really what they make. So unless you
salary.
Yep. Quick thoughts. Quick thoughts.
The average salary for a professional badminton player is estimated to be around $60,000 per year in the United States.
So we'll say you're probably making $200,000.
Some notable players have earned more than $500,000 in China.
So you are going to China, and you're making under what I would make with the Major League Baseball.
I'm the star,
Shout out. You're a star in China.
I'm a star.
Yeah, that's fun. On a more... I don't know. What's the word?
Flimsy?
No. Just like a more serious note. There we'll go. For the final question, would you rather mentally or physically never age?
Oh, man. I don't know. I've thought about this because I am a firm believer that my mind is going to go before my body goes.
It's already started.
It's already happening. But if I've always said I wish I was like this mentally like aware whenever I was 18, and because like pitching and baseball and stuff, like, oh man, I was so much like I'm so much smarter now, and like it just would have been a lot better. I would have been better at school and everything like that. But at some point, your mind just slips slowly into insanity.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'll take the physically never age still.
You're like, I don't care. I'm breaking the world records for 90-year-olds whenever that
let's
comes
run
around.
it back, man.
Yeah, that's... Oh, man.
Does that mean I never die, though, too?
I think you still die. You're just really at the top of your game, like physically. Like you're just doing really well.
Give me that one.
So you make it a long time. I'm going to go the mentally never age. And I think both scenarios you would last a long time, but mentally, I think that's like honestly like one of the probably the saddest things whenever like someone gets a lot older and like eventually they like start aging mentally and forget stuff or whatever else. And I think the people who are really just like mentally all there, like those are like the coolest people, like honestly, like being able to, like to talk to them, like hear stories, like them being quick with it, and like just knowing what's happening is like awesome. And I would love to be in that spot someday. Again, you never really know what's going to happen, but
just getting old.
Yeah.
We're all getting old.
Yeah, we're aging it every day. But I think not mentally aging would be pretty awesome. So, yeah, that's about it for most of this episode of the podcast. I know last week we had a voice memo from Alvaro. And we don't have
Alvaro.
Yeah, shout out again. What was it? Latino Mr. Beast? That was it?
Yep, Latino Mr. Beast.
And we didn't have any new voice memos, but I did receive an Instagram message, and the message came from Hope Peterson, one of the ghosties, and it said, "Dude, I just listened to your recent podcast episode. We'll be starting from the beginning. So awesome. That's pretty
Perfect.
cool. She said, glad we got a pickleball win because I mentioned I played some pickleball at Chicken and Pickle during the Kansas City Ghost Runners Grande Boo weekend.
That you did.
And we did partner up at one point, and we did bring home a dub.
You and Hop?
Yep. Hope.
Okay.
And then she said, also, I think it's so awesome that y'all share. And what do we share? That's what you might be asking. And she says, Bible verses at the end of a crazy... Oh, wait. I read this wrong. She's saying it's awesome that we share Bible verses at the end of episodes. And then she said, a crazy coinky-dink that the one we shared in a recent episode was Mark 8:27 through 29.
Yeah.
Which is the one you shared. And she said that was the theme verse at a summer camp she worked at. I'm like, wow. That is pretty cool.
See?
That you decided just to randomly listen to some episodes, and it happened to be one that you related to. And that's a great sign that you can never stop listening to our podcast now. So shout out.
Coincidence is for pagans. Nothing is an accident. There, I said it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what my mentor says.
But yeah, I thought that was just a really cool message, so I thought I would shout you out there. We also received another Apple review. We mentioned the 5-star one we got last week.
Go ahead and say their name.
I don't know how to say this. The 5-star with Apple Podcast reviews. The name you have here, I don't know what it's trying to say, but I'm going to say is Dioraginosia.
Is that a slur?
I don't know, but that was the username, and the message was this. It was entitled Second Time Around, and it was, I found these guys through the Ghost Runners. Shout out.
Big
and
shout
I'm
out.
so glad I did. I'm a ship shopper, so I'm by means all day, and these guys keep me company. I'm sure I look crazy as I'm by myself laughing out loud. I'm on my second time around listening, still laughing. Thank you guys for being a funny spot of my day. That's what I love to hear. That is awesome.
Man, ship shopper. Don't know what that means. I imagine he buys and sells ships.
Yeah, I think they.
What a life.
Yeah, they. It's really big, like on the coast, especially. That's where you can get most of the flips on Facebook Marketplace for getting the ship shoppers.
Not in the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, not Lake of the Ozarks. I think most of it is on the coast, especially like the Atlantic Ocean area. That's where you can buy and sell the ships and then shop them. Ship to shops.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I hate swimming. Swimming is the worst.
but hey, you'll never physically age, so you'll be able to swim better.
Such a good point.
Yeah. So
Man.
those were our Apple reviews, Instagram messages, etc. If you maybe want to be featured on a future episode, send us a message, leave us a voice memo, etc.
Send us a little something.
Leave some 5 stars. You know,
spice it up a little
whatever
bit.
you want.
Remember, you
We
can
got
always call us and cuss us out. I think that'd be funny.
Gosh, I just read. So we're back to our final thoughts. And Dane, what
happened?
What are you doing? You put for your final thoughts. You just put
What happened?
Cufftober.
Yeah.
What in the world are you talking about?
Well, Cufftober. Some of you might be like, so he knows, and others of you are like, what? That's kind of weird. But Cufftober is when you try to enter a relationship around the holiday season. Starts in October.
We are in September.
I know, but it's a season for a reason.
Oh, okay.
Because in August is when you have your preseason training camps. You're looking around, scouting the prospects.
Yep, I see that.
And all of September, you're making your final cut downs.
Okay.
You're like, okay, you're narrowing it down to
You're
somebody.
the 40-man, need to get down to 30-man, like get down lower and lower, get that 25-man roster going.
You got to get all the way down to a single Sade. And then in October, it's time to put the moves on her.
Oh, okay, like Jagger.
Yeah, like Jagger. And then that's when the season starts.
Okay. How long's the season?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It goes. You play all the regular season all the way through November and most of December. And
so
then,
you're saying for most of the time you're just playing games with this person?
Oh no, this is a real thing.
Okay.
And then I'm not the one who came up with this. And then December 15th is when the playoff starts.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's when you start buying gifts for Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas and then New Year's
And Hanukkah?
Bonjour.
Kwanzaa?
Bonjour.
And other New Year's. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And New Year's. And then Super Bowl. Glad you asked.
Yeah, yes. Super Bowl?
February 14th.
Oh, wait, is the Super Bowl on Valentine's Day this year?
Nope, it's breakup day.
Oh, wait, I wasn't thinking that's your Super Bowl.
That's the Super Bowl.
So you're going to lock someone up and then let them go.
No.
You just said Super Bowl. You break up.
I'm saying that's the how cufftober works. I'm going to lock them up and then continually date them and hopefully marry them.
Okay, so you're not going to break up on the Super Bowl.
No, because we're going to win the Super Bowl together.
Oh, shout out.
Wow.
Man, I'm excited for you. That should be fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll probably have some pasta. I just really want some pasta right now.
We'll talk about your journey, I guess, along the way and see how that goes.
It's going to be great, especially
looking forward to your
when
cufftober.
It goes down in flames. I mean, not again.
Yeah. So for me, my final thoughts, yes. Remember that riddle we asked last week?
No.
You don't remember it?
Read it to me.
Do you want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay, so here it is. The riddle was, a farmer has 26 sheep.
I put my shirt on.
Shut up. One of the sheep dies. How many does he have left?
I'm telling you, it's 25 or 26, man.
So Jack, who sent us this riddle, he said, people think it's 26. So they will say 25. The answer is 19. Do you want to know why the answer is 19?
A sheep dies.
So it's a paddle. The paddle wears down because you're in the Sahara Desert. That was a reference to our other riddle.
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to read it slowly. A farmer has 20 sick sheep.
That's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid.
And one of the sheep dies. How many does he have left?
I hate that.
He has 19 because he started with 20 sick sheep.
Nope. Jack, that's the worst riddle I've ever heard. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being bamboozled by the English language.
But he was like, yeah, so a farmer has 26 sheep, but say it fast so it sounds like 26 sheep.
No.
So that's your answer to the riddle.
I feel lied to.
You hate this, don't you?
I hate that riddle.
Yeah.
The first riddle was at least was great.
Yeah.
At least that one's like, I just had the wrong pronunciation of where.
He also pointed out that he finds it funny when we call him Chet Holmgren, or like related to
Chet Holmgren.
because Jack Holmgren.
Because they're both 7'1".
Yep. Exactly. That's the exact reason why.
That's the way I remember it.
But those were our final thoughts, and we got to get into our sponsors of the week. Oh, that was on point, on cue, on whatever. But our number one, yes, you guessed it, it is, and the answer is Jesus
Christ of Nazareth.
Yes, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, number one, has never not been number one. So shout out to him, and shout out to this verse of the week that Dane is going to read to us right now.
Okay. So I switched to the NIV version for this.
Niv.
Niv, yeah. I usually read ESV. Dang it. Which the only difference is NIV is thought for thought, and ESV is more word for word, or something like that.
That makes sense for you guys. So right there you go. Word for word, thought for thought. So
what? We're going to Ecclesiastes here.
Ecclesiastes?
Ecclesiastes, where Solomon, the wisest man ever to live,
shout out,
is writing here towards the end of his life. And it says, just reading starting in verse 1, probably go through 3 here. It says, the words of the teacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all of their labors at which they toil under the sun?
Yep.
Wait, I want to read verse 4 too. Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. So he's sitting here, and he is like able to ask for one thing in his life. He asks for infinite wisdom from God, and he gets it. And now he's as smart as anyone who's ever lived. He has more money than anyone who's ever walked the earth, because they went back and like calculated all of the like vineyards and gold and things that he just had, and he was by far the richest person who's ever walked the earth. He had 1,000 wives and concubines and couldn't find meaning in that. And now he's writing Ecclesiastes and saying, money, stuff, and status couldn't make me happy. And much like the billionaires of today, they know better.
That almost sound like a rap lyric. I just want to say, that's how you said that. I'm like, that's some preaching right there.
It's it's just uncanny because the billionaires know that money, stuff, and status doesn't buy you happiness, and yet we all pursue it. We all are like, I heard a speaker once say, everybody knows money can't buy you happiness, but everybody wants to find out for themselves. And that's very true, because we always think we'll be the exception to be like, hey, yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, but I'll do a lot of good with the money, right? Money is a giant distraction. It's a good thing, but it's not an ultimate thing.
Yeah.
And not to mention, all things on this earth are good things, but not all things, but a lot of things on this earth are good things, but not anything on this earth is ultimate except for Jesus Christ himself.
And that's why Jesus Christ is our number one sponsor of the week.
Boom.
And, this is a great transition to our number 2 sponsor of the week, who is not even close to number 1 in any capacity, except for that he follows him. Yes, he follows our number 1 sponsor in more ways than one.
They both have rockin' facial hair.
Yeah, they do. And that is Jake Trustin Art. Why do you love Jake Trustin Art?
He allowed me to live in his home.
And he didn't even know it, actually. You just kind of hid in the crevice, like underneath his house.
No, that's not true. I lived there. So I met this young fella.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 years ago now. And first time I met him, we were like hanging out, like, yeah, like, do you want to be roommates? And then me and like some other people who were going to be roommates were like, yeah, dude, we want to add this guy. Like, let's see if he's cool. And then the second time I met Jake, he goes, hey, can you drive me to Kansas City? And I'm like,
the second time?
The very, like actually,
wow.
He calls me and goes, hey, can you drive me to Kansas City like tomorrow? And I'm like, what? I'm like,
can I live in your house?
I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, I'll pay you for gas money and snacks and this and that. And I was like, well, honestly, I got nothing going, so sure. And so I drive up there to Kansas City because he was going on a trip to Europe. And we talked about all kinds of stuff, his artwork, his passions, and all the stuff from our past and whatnot. And then I was like, you know what? He doesn't suck. He's a good guy. And then I drove back, and then we lived together for like 4.5 years.
Man.
And then
that was part of all the original deal. You're like, hey, I'll drive you up. I have to live with you for 4.5 years.
That was part of the contract.
Okay.
And then Michaela came along and voided said contract.
That stinks. And that's why we are at our new recording studio.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Jake, he's surprised we're still mentioning him at this point.
Michaela Trustin Art, yeah.
Yeah. So.
She changed her middle name too. Because Jake Trustin is not his last name.
Hey, but that is his artist name.
That's his artist
name. And that's
name.
what we're going to go by. So look for Jake Trustin Art, buy his stuff, get him some money so he can Venmo us that money as well.
Yeah, he gives us a share of the proceeds.
Mm-hmm.
We've received
Millions.
multiple dollars from him. It's kind of like how I tell people, they're like, oh yeah, how much money do you make? And I say, I make 5 figures a year, which is anything over $10,000.
Yeah. Shout out, like, oh wow, like, oh, okay, that could be 10,000, that could be 99,000.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
One is really good.
Yeah. So yep, number 2 sponsor of the week, Jake Trustin Art, and number 3. I think all these sponsors just really go well together, because number 3 is Chick-fil-A.
They took away their peach milkshake, and I'm unhappy.
It's seasonal, it's summer, but yes, their peach milkshake is amazing. But also, they do have other good shakes as well. One of the best shakes, shout out, is coming up soon, is their seasonal one for like Christmas time. Their peppermint, like chocolate chip one.
Nope.
It slaps.
I don't want it.
So good.
I don't want their propaganda.
But the reason I mentioned Chick-fil-A is because they recently released a new seasonal shake, which I haven't had yet. It's like a caramel something shake.
They told me they didn't have it.
Well, you probably went on the wrong time.
Yeah.
But I did try their chicken sandwich with like pimento cheese and jalapenos.
What? Oh.
First time I think I've ever had a sandwich there without like one of the extra additional sauces, because this one has like honey on it and stuff, and then the pimento cheese. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty nice. I think it beat my expectations.
What would you give it out of 10?
I would give it a 7.4.
I
think usually
I'd
probably just stick with their normal spicy chicken sandwiches or original usually, and then put my own sauces on there, because for one, they're about $2 cheaper. But also, I think I just enjoy it slightly more. But this was a nice little change of pace. I think it was a good move on their part. It is seasonal, so we'll see how it goes.
Sometimes you gotta switch it up a little bit.
Yep. And for that reason, we're going to switch it up and say that this episode of the Until Next Week podcast is almost over.
Yeah, and just remember, if you are a communist, Samuel's coming for you.
Why? Why
saw-
do we end it that way?
Because
We've mentioned communism more than Taylor Swift, I feel like, at this point.
not true.
Okay,
But-
probably not.
Yeah, but Michael Fuller and how he relates to communism is a popular segment.
Yeah.
No, I saw a poster one time that said, and the caption was, when you win the lottery and your wife says, we won the lottery, and it was a scare tactic that said, I married a communist. And I was like, wow, facts.
Well, on that note, this has been episode 37 of the Until Next Week podcast.
Who are you to say I'm crazy?